Why is your face so ugly? Don't you think you are not supposed to be among beautiful, good-looking people like us? You must be poor, right? Only a poor guy will act like this. If you had any real money, you wouldn't look like this. You would have used your money to get some face surgery. So ugly, so scary face like a monster. They surrounded him, chanting, "Ugly boy, ugly boy, ugly boy, strange face, strange face." Once upon a time, in a bustling city of Lagos, there lived a billionaire named Chief Okoro, who was known far and wide for his wealth and influence. He had everything one could ever dream of: mansions, cars, and businesses that spread across the country. But his greatest treasure was his son, Chinedu. Chinedu was not only the son of one of the richest men in the land, but he was also blessed with extraordinary good looks. His skin was so smooth and glowing like polished. His eyes shone like stars, and his smile could light up the darkest room. Everywhere Chinedu went, people would stop and stare, captivated by his beauty. But Chinedu didn't like the attention his looks brought him. It wasn't just because people were always staring at him. It was because of the way his classmates, especially the girls, treated him. From the very first day he entered secondary school, the girls flocked around him like bees to honey. They would write him letters, bring him gifts, and some even fought each other just to be close to him. In his first year of senior secondary school, there was a day when Chinedu's class was buzzing with excitement. One of the girls, Amaka, had baked a cake and brought it to school just for Chinedu. She shyly handed it to him during lunch break, her cheeks blushing as she said, "Chinedu, I made this cake for you. I hope you like it." Before Chinedu could even thank her, another girl, Fumi, stormed over, her eyes flashing with anger. "What do you think you are doing, Amaka? Chinedu doesn't eat just any cake. He likes chocolate, not vanilla." Amaka's face turned red with embarrassment, but she wasn't ready to back down. "Who told you that? Chinedu and I talk all the time. He told me himself that he likes vanilla." The argument quickly escalated, and soon the two girls were shouting at each other, each trying to prove that they knew Chinedu better. The situation got so heated that they started pushing and shoving, knocking over chairs, and causing a scene in the cafeteria. The teachers had to step in and separate the two girls. While Chinedu stood there, feeling both embarrassed and guilty. He hadn't asked for a cake, but now it seems like it was the cause of the trouble. In another instance, during a class break, two girls named Chioma and Bisi began fighting over who gets to sit next to Chinedu during a school assembly. Chioma had been sitting beside Chinedu earlier that day and planned to do so again. But when Bisi saw her approaching, she quickly sat down in the seat, glaring at Chioma. "Move! That's my seat," Chioma demanded. "No way! I'm sitting here today," Bisi shot back. Before long, the two girls were pulling each other's hair and hurling insults. The noise attracted the attention of the entire class, and soon the teachers had to intervene once more. Both girls were sent to the principal's office, and once again, Chinedu found himself being questioned. "Chinedu, what is going on with these girls? Why do you cause so much trouble in my school?" the principal asked, shaking his head, and his voice tinged with frustration. "But sir, I really don't know. I haven't done anything wrong," Chinedu replied, genuinely confused and tired of being in the middle of these quarrels. The principal would sigh deeply. He knew Chinedu was telling the truth, but the trouble his presence caused was undeniable. The girls couldn't help but fight over him. The constant attention from the girls did not go unnoticed by the boys in Chinedu's class. They often watched with jealousy as the girls fawned over him, bringing him gifts and fighting for his attention. The envy only grew stronger when they realized that Chinedu wasn't just good looking, he was also one of the smartest students in the class. There was one boy in particular, Tunde, who couldn't stand the sight of Chinedu being praised by both teachers and students. One day, during a mathematics test, Tunde sat behind Chinedu, watching as he effortlessly solved the problems on his papers. When the test results were announced, Chinedu as usual, came out on top with the highest score. That's just because he's the teacher's favorite. Tunde muttered to his friends after class. They always give him the easiest questions. Another boy, Emeka, nodded in agreement. Yeah, and all the girls are always helping him with his homework. No wonder he always does so well. The boys' envy also showed in more subtle ways. They would often exclude Chinedu from their games during break time, leaving him to sit alone. When Chinedu would approach them to join in, they would make excuses or pretend not to hear him. The treatment made Chinedu feel isolated and lonely, despite being surrounded by people who admired him. As time went on, the envy turned into bitterness, and the boys would make snide comments whenever Chinedu walked by. "There goes Mr. Perfect," they would say, laughing among themselves. Chinedu pretended not to hear, but the words stung. He wished he could just be a normal boy, without all the attention and jealousy that came with his looks and intelligence. Chinedu soon dreaded going to school. Each morning, as he put on his uniform, he would sigh heavily, knowing that another day of being the center of unwanted attention awaited him. He couldn't wait to finish secondary school and be done with it all. Chinedu found no joy in school at all. Despite all this, Chinedu remained kind and humble. He didn't let the envy of the boys or the constant fighting among the girls change who he was. But the strain of it all weighed heavily on him. The constant attention and the jealousy from his peers made his life difficult. Finally, the day came when Chinedu graduated from secondary school. He was relieved, but also anxious about what lay ahead. He was eager to leave it all behind and start a new chapter in his life. His father, Chief Okoro, wanted him to attend the most prestigious university in the country, where only the richest and the most powerful people sent their children. But Chinedu had other plans. "Father," Chinedu said one evening after dinner, "I don't want to go to the expensive university. I want to go to a common university where I can meet all kinds of people." Chief Okoro was surprised. "But why, my son? You have the opportunity to study in the best university in the land. Why will you want to go somewhere less?" "Father," Chinedu explained, "I want to be around people who don't care about wealth or looks. I want to make friends with people who like me for who I am. I want to mingle with various classes of people." Chief Okoro was silent for a moment. He had always wanted the best for his son, but he also knew that Chinedu was wise beyond his years. He trusted his son's judgment. "Very well, my son," Chief Okoro agreed. "You shall go to the university of your choice." Chinedu was overjoyed, but he knew that even at a common university, his looks would still attract attention. So he came up with a plan. He decided he would disguise himself as someone who was ugly. He would wear an ugly face mask to hide his handsome face and dress in simple plain clothes. That way, he would find out who truly liked him for who he was on the inside. As Chinedu was preparing for school, he visited a craftsman to make an ugly face mask that will match his skin color, look real, and will be difficult for people to know it's a mask. The day came for Chinedu to leave for university. He packed his bags, said goodbye to his family, and set off for a new life. When he arrived at the university, he put on his mask, which covered his face. To complete his disguise, he wore old thrift clothes. At first, when Chinedu entered the university, the other students did not know what to make of him. He had never seen anyone like him before. Some of them laughed and pointed at him, calling him names like ugly face and the strange one. Others whispered behind his back, wondering why anyone's face would be so unattractive like that. Despite this ridicule, Chinedu didn't mind. He was used to being the center of attention. But this time, it was different. This time, he was in control. He could walk around the campus without girls fighting over him or boys being jealous of him. For the first time in his life, he felt free. But not everyone was cruel to Chinedu. There was one girl, Ada, who treated him with kindness. Ada was a quiet, gentle girl who always always had a smile on his face. She did not join in when the other students made fun of Chinedu. Instead, she would greet him warmly whenever she saw him and sometimes even sit with him during lunch. "Hi, Chinedu," Ada would say smiling. "How are you today? Don't let their words get to you, okay? You are human and you are wonderfully made. Don't let anyone make you think less of yourself." "I'm fine. Thank you for your kind words, Ada," Chinedu would reply, grateful for her kindness. As the days passed, Chinedu and Ada became good friends. They would sit together in class, study in the library, and talk about all kinds of things. Ada never asked Chinedu about his look, and Chinedu never felt the need to explain. She liked him for who he was, and that was all that mattered. One day, as they were walking back from class, Ada turned to Chinedu and said, "You know, Chinedu, I don't care what you look like. You are a good person, and that's what is important to me." Chinedu was touched by her words. For the first time in his life, someone had seen past his experience and liked him for who he was inside. He wanted to tell Ada the truth about his disguise, but he wasn't ready yet. He needed to be sure that she truly cared for him. Meanwhile, Ada grew up in a home where they struggled to make ends meet. Her parents are poor people who are determined to break the yoke of illiteracy in their family by sending their daughter to school. Paying her school fees or sending money to her to eat was very difficult. However, Ada was focused and managed the little she received from home. Meanwhile, life at the university wasn't easy for Chinedu. Although he had Ada's friendship, the other students continued to mock him. They would bump into him in the hallways, knock his books out of his hands, and call him names. Chinedu would often go back to his room at night, feeling sad and lonely. But he reminded himself that this was all part of his plan. He wanted to find out who his true friends were, and he was willing to endure the hardship. However, there was one student who noticed him right since he resumed and didn't like him at all. Her name was Rose. Rose was the daughter of a very wealthy man in the city, and she acted like it. She believed that because of her father's money, she was better than everyone else. Rose chose her friends carefully, only surrounding herself with people from rich families. She didn't have time from anyone she thought was beneath her. When Rose first saw Chinedu, she immediately disliked him. There was something about the way he looks and stayed quiet that annoyed her. She didn't understand why someone's face would look that ugly and unattractive. She believed such people are not supposed to be among humans. During one of their classes, Rose decided to confront Chinedu. She walked up to him with two of her friends by her side. She looked him over, her expression showing that she wasn't impressed. "So, you are the new guy everyone is talking about," Rose said, her voice cold. "Why is your face so ugly? Don't you think you are not supposed to be among beautiful, good-looking people like us?" Chinedu looked at her calmly, not letting her words bother him. He had expected something like this eventually, but he wasn't going to let it get to him. He stayed silent, hoping she would get bored and leave. But Rose wasn't done. She leaned in a little closer, her eyes narrowing. "You must be poor, right? Only a poor guy will act like this. If you had any real money, you wouldn't look like this. You would have used your money to get some face surgery. So ugly, so scary face like a monster." Her friends jiggled at her words, clearly enjoying the way Rose was trying to put Chinedu down. But Chinedu did not react the way they expected. Ada was busy at the back of the class, suddenly turned towards his direction and saw what was happening. Quickly ran to his side. "What's going on here?" "Rose, I know all your plight. See, you cannot harass him. He's not whatever name you call him. You are not his creator. You can't even create a pen. Suckless of human. Let today be the last day you will talk to him in that manner. Is that clear?" Rose Rose was surprised for a moment. She wasn't used to people standing up to her, especially not someone like Ada, but she quickly regained her composure, flipping her hair back and smirking at her. You two fit each other. Poor stinking girl and an ugly face. Match made in heaven, she said. But don't think you can hang out with anyone important. No one here wants to be friends with someone like you. With that, Rose walked away, afraid trailing behind her. Chinedu watched them leave, feeling a little unsettled, but Ada calmed him down, telling him not to worry, that she would be there for him. I'm here for you, okay? I will always be. Like I always tell you, don't let any bad comments get to you. And remember, never dim your light for anyone. Meanwhile, semester examination was getting close and Ada had not paid her school fees. Her parents couldn't afford to send her school fees or even gave her feeding allowance. Even though Ada was starving, she didn't show it on her face and was still smiling. One day, during lunch, she hung out with Chinedu at the school garden, talking about the coming examination. As Chinedu snacked on sandwich bread, Chinedu offered her a sandwich and asked her why she did not bring food to school or buy anything to eat. Ada kept quiet, did not want to lie. Neither does she want to tell him her situation. Chinedu noticed something was off and said, Ada, are you okay? Are you hiding something from me? I thought we are each other's best friend and we share things without holding anything back. What is wrong, Ada? Talk to me, please. Ada reluctantly opened up to Chinedu about the situation of her family and how she has not been eating well for days and how she has not paid her school fees despite exams coming up in days. Chinedu was so sad to hear this. He held her hands, his eyes teary, and said, you kept all this away, not sharing with me? Oh my God, Ada. Chinedu, not wanting to reveal his identity, comforted her and told her he would go any length to make sure she writes the exam. After their conversation that day, Chinedu went to the school accounts department to pay Ada's school fees without her knowledge. He collected the receipts, put some money in the envelope together with the receipts and drop it like a parcel secretly at her hostel door. Ada was surprised when she saw a parcel at her hostel door. She took it inside, opened it, and was surprised to see the money and the receipts of her school fees. She was happy and unsettled at the same time. When she got to school the following day, she couldn't wait to tell Chinedu. She was not suspecting Chinedu at all because she believed they are both poor. She explained everything she saw to Chinedu and he also pretended to be surprised, not wanting to dwell on it too much. He simply said, I prayed for you yesterday. Maybe God sent an angel. He smiled. Chinedu's classmates continued to undermine him whenever they could. One day, during a group project, Chinedu was assigned as the group leader. The other boys in the group, out of jealousy, decided to make things difficult for him. They refused to do their part properly, hoping that the project would fail and that Chinedu would be blamed for it. But Chinedu, being the diligent and intelligent boy he was, ended up doing most of the work himself and still managed to get a good grade for the group. However, Chinedu reported their nonchalant attitude to the lecturer and 10 marks was deducted from their marks. This does not go well with the guys and they decided to play a cruel prank on him. They knew that there was a big departmental party happening on campus that weekend and they wanted to embarrass Chinedu in front of everyone. We would embarrass him and bully him till he decides to leave the school for us, they said. Chinedu and Ada thought about skipping the party, but then they remembered that this was all part of school fun. On the evening of the party, Ada and Chinedu arrived wearing his mask and plain clothes as usual. The party was in full swing with music playing, people dancing, and laughter filling the air. Chinedu tried to blend into the background, but it wasn't long before a group of students approached him. Hey, ugly man, the I too know, the only intelligent guy in our class. One of the guys shouted, so why are you here? The other students gathered around, laughing and cheering. Chinedu felt his heart race, but he stayed calm. Chinedu tried to walk away, but the students couldn't let him go. They surrounded him, chanting, "Ugly boy, ugly boy, ugly boy, strange face, strange face." Just as Chinedu was about to turn and leave, Ada stepped forward. She stood in front of Chinedu, blocking the other students. "Leave him alone," Ada shouted. "He is more than what he looks like. You can't bully him, and you can't dim his lights." The students were taken aback. They hadn't expected anyone to stand up for Chinedu, but she stood her ground, glaring at them until they started to back off. "Come on, let's go," Ada said, taking Chinedu's hand and leading him away from the crowd. They left the party and walked in silence until they reached a quiet spot on campus. Chinedu was overwhelmed with gratitude for Ada's kindness. "Thank you, Ada," Chinedu said softly. "I don't know what I would have done without you." Ada smiled and squeezed his hand. "You don't have to thank me, Chinedu. I did what any friend would do." Chinedu knew then that Ada was a true friend. She had stood up for him when no one else would, and she had done it without asking for anything in return. He realized that it was time to tell her the truth. "Ada," Chinedu began, taking a deep breath, "there is something I need to tell you." Ada looked at him, curiosity in her eyes. "This is not my real face. I'm sorry if you feel I'm deceptive. I'm wearing a fake mask. The reason I wear this mask," Chinedu continued, "is because I didn't want people to like me for my looks. You see, I'm not really ugly. In fact, I'm quite the opposite." Ada's eyes widened in surprise. "What do you mean?" Chinedu reached up and slowly removed his mask. Ada gasped as she saw his face for the first time. His smooth, bright eyes and handsome features were revealed, and she couldn't believe what she was seeing. "Chinedu, you are so handsome," Ada whispered, her voice filled with awe. Chinedu smiled, but there was sadness in his eyes. "Yes, but that beauty had cost me nothing but trouble. That's why I decided to hide it, to see who would care about me for who I really am." Ada's eyes filled with tears as she realized what Chinedu has gone through. She reached out and gently touched his face. "You didn't have to hide from me, Chinedu," Ada said softly. "I would have liked you no matter what you looked like." Chinedu's heart swelled with emotion. He knew then that Ada was the friend he had been searching for all along. From that day on, Chinedu no longer wore his mask. He and Ada became the best of friends, and their bond grew stronger with each passing day. The other students were shocked when they saw Chinedu's true face, and many of them tried to be friends with him. But Chinedu only had eyes for Ada. He knew that she was the only one who had seen past his disguise and cared for him as a person. Rose, the boss lady in the class, tried all means to be close to him after finding out he was handsome and was from a wealthy home. But no way. Chinedu told his father about Ada, and he funded all her school fees and other expenses. Chinedu revealed his true identity as a handsome guy and a billionaire son, carrying Ada in his luxury car around the school. Every lady in the school envied Ada and wants to be her badly. As the years went by, Chinedu and Ada graduated from university together. Chinedu's father employed Ada to manage one of his multi-billion dollars company. Chinedu and Ada both went to achieve great things in their lives, but they never forgot the lessons they learned during their time at university. Chinedu learned that true friends are those who care about you for who you are, not what you look like. And Ada learned that kindness and compassion are the most important qualities a person can have. And so, Chinedu and Ada were truly match made in heaven. They took their friendship to the next level. They got married in an elaborate grand wedding and lived happily ever after. Their friendship a shining example of the power of true love and genuine connection. In short, the moral of this story is true beauty lies within, and genuine friendships are built on kindness and understanding, not appearances. Guys, I hope you find this story interesting and full of moral lessons. I would like to know where you are watching from and also your thoughts about this story. Drop it in the comment section. Don't forget to also like and subscribe. I'll see you in another story. Till then, bye for now. Stay blessed, positive, and remember, be kind to others.